Happy Labor Day, y'all. Now, you might be asking, why are we looking at a picture of Steven Crowder? Why are we talking about Steven Crowder on Labor Day? Well, because I have something amazing to show you. I have something truly spectacular to show you guys. But first, a little context on Steven Crowder, in case y'all don't know. I mean, you should, because he's the change my mind guy. He's forever cemented in popular culture now because of that meme, but outside of the meme, Steven Crowder is a conservative commentator on YouTube and Blaze TV. Steven Crowder is, aside from Ben Shapiro, probably the most significant um, conservative commentator I can think of. Definitely for, the younger generation, right? Like, if you wanted to call him my generation's Rush Limbaugh, that wouldn't be far from accurate. Steven Crowder was also in a controversy for getting demonetized on YouTube. And the reason is because he made homophobic insults towards Vox's Carlos Maza. Now, Crowder made it seem like this was just another example of YouTube and their left-wing bias, the left-wing organization that is YouTube. But their left-wing bias tried to shut him down, shut down his conservative voice, when literally all Crowder had to do to get remonetized was to stop selling shirts, Che Guevara shirts, that had the words "socialism is for figs" on it. All he had to do, but he did just get remonetized. So I don't know if he stopped selling the shirts or if YouTube just, decided they didn't give a shit anymore. Give a shit anymore. Shit. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a video that I'm surprised is not more infamous, right? Like, this should be the video people use to take down Steven Crowder because, well, let's see the title, right? Why Labor Day sucks. It sucks. Um, yeah, so we know the direction this is going, right? Like, and spoiler alert, Steven Crowder doesn't say Labor Day sucks because every day should be Labor Day. We should respect the labor forces of this country, the working class, the working men and women. He doesn't say that. I will say up front, right? If I were tasked to make a parody of conservatives, create a character that was a parody of them that made them look as unlikable, as out of touch, and as unempathetic as possible, if those were my objectives, I could not do a better job than what Steven Crowder did with this video. Watching this actually made me wonder if Steven Crowder has secretly been a leftist double agent whose entire persona has just been crafted to make conservatives look bad. This is a validation of every accusation that has been made against the right in terms of their relationship with the working class. Like, conservatives will just say, no, 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 we love the working class. We just think, the more money in the business owner's pocket, the more money in their pocket. Trickle down economics, right? Their argument is that it will actually benefit everyone. Steven Crowder does not give a fuck. He will be open about that in this video. But I am putting words in the man's mouth. Clearly, he has an impassioned case to make. And we're going to watch it. So, I hope you're ready, y'all.
Oh, hello there. Allow me to express an unpopular opinion for a moment, if I may. Labor Day, as a national holiday, is a scam, and I hate it. No.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate what a what a Contra Points ripoff this is? Like, you know, he looked at Contra Points and said, I want to make the conservative version of that. But conservatives aren't creative, right? So instead of the immaculate lighting and set design and costume, the production value of a Contra Points video, he's just wearing like a robe, an open robe, and there's a gun back there. I guess that kind of adds to the right wing atmosphere. I can't tell if he's wearing stockings. No, that's just a shadow on his leg. By the way, I would respect him a lot more if he let the nip slip from that robe there. It's almost there. We're almost seeing it. So I would have respected him a lot more had he just let the nip slip. But nope, because Steven Crowder is a Steven Coward. I almost messed that up. You saw me struggling, right? Like Steven Crowder.
Oh no, I'm not going to try and steal your get out of work free day. You can rest easy enjoying your barbecue and beer while your boss ultimately picks up the slack to keep your pay stubs coming in, all because some arbitrary holiday was marketed to celebrate the working class and you now feel entitled to it. It's a poor.
Um, a few things, right, for context here. Steven Crowder has been an actor since he was a child. He got a job voicing the character of Brain on Arthur. Yes, that Arthur. After that, he became a comedian, then a failed comedian, then a Fox News commentator, and now he's on this show, which is funded literally by, can you guess? Millionaires. And probably billionaires. Yes, his show is funded by dark money contributions. He doesn't get most of his income from the YouTube views. He doesn't even get it mostly from the mug club shit. By the way, you can't buy that mug. Like, you can't just buy the mug. You have to get the mug through a yearly subscription to the Blaze, which I think it's like $100. So when people usually complain about celebrities being out of touch, right, and condescending to the common man, you're thinking of liberals, right? Liberal celebrities. But can we just appreciate that this guy is speaking so contemptibly to working people, like to the people that make our economy possible, to the people that make rich people possible?
Excuse for picking a man's pocket every first Monday of September. Seeing as I'm apparently the only one who knows that around here, allow me to explain my opinion.
That was a quote from Ebenezer Scrooge. My man Steven Crowder just literally quoted Ebenezer Scrooge. Scrooge said, that's a poor reason to pick a man's pocket every 25th of December. You know, when Bob Cratchit's asking for a day off. Can that be a coincidence? I know Crowder's mind works exactly like Scrooge, like pre-transformation Scrooge. So it's possible. The wording is so specific, though. And it just sounds kind of old-fashioned, right? Like he's going for an old-fashioned kind of thing there. Did Steven Crowder read A Christmas Carol, get to that line and said, that's fucking good, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that. I wonder if he read the end of The Christmas Carol. I mean, I wonder if he actually knows how that story turns out. Yeah, but regardless, he just quoted like one of the most famously greedy characters in literature. Like a character who is more than anyone else synonymous with greed, um, and the dehumanizing effects of it. So I just wanted to point that out.
Now, Labor Day was created at a rare moment in history where unions actually served a purpose beyond bitching about six-figure benefit packages and determining which other members' tires they'd slash because of bullshit card check voting. See, that's because the Industrial Revolution, unlike the Agricultural Revolution which preceded it, resulted in an economy with a select few people at the top and then a manual labor class in the factories who were working very long hours just to squeak out a living, sometimes 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, notice that was an actual moment in history, unlike the fabricated one today from entitled leftist socialists who bitch that the American dream is more out of reach than ever because they might have to work a double shift at their retail job to pay off their gender studies degree that they think the taxpayers should ultimately subsidize.
A lot of stuff there, man. A lot of stuff. Let's break it down. Stephen Crowder hates unions, and he clearly thinks that workers are entitled. So, I mean, let's focus instead on that thing he said at the end, because he just kind of tried to slip that in, right? Like we wouldn't notice, or like he's speaking so fast that we won't really process the badness of it. So entitled leftist socialists who think the economy, the American dream is more unattainable because they have to work multiple jobs, multiple retail jobs to pay for their social studies, gender studies degree. Is he talking about that statistic where I believe 5% of the American workforce has to work multiple jobs just to make rent, right? Like they have to work multiple jobs? Is that what he's talking about? Are all of those people, all of that 5%, are they entitled leftist socialists because they have to work multiple jobs to live, to survive? And what that has to do with college or universities, fuck knows. He is just trying to connect the dots in his mind, to draw the picture that he is trying to create. So it's just like zigzagging all over the place. There's no coherence here. It is just a desperate attempt at saving the conservative narrative that, A, the economy is going great, which it really isn't. Wages have been rising, yes. Real wages, adjusted for inflation, have been dropping since Trump took office. And of course, there's that figure, 5% of people have to work multiple jobs. That's 5 out of 100 people. That's not a small thing. And then, just lastly, the gender studies thing. Do you realize how impossible it is, how virtually impossible it is to have any economic autonomy, any financial autonomy without a college degree? Meaning how impossible it is to really to get a job in the first place, but then to socially and financially mobilize. I mean, a college degree is not a privilege, it's a necessity for working today. You do know that, right? That's why you had to throw in the gender studies thing to try to make it seem irrelevant. Like like is that the only thing that people go to college to study for? People also go there to become doctors and lawyers and business owners to learn business. You stupid prick.
Also, notice that I said manual laborers and not working class. Because the idea that someone who owns that factory, or today someone who owns a business or happens to be an independent contractor, is not working is absurd, insulting, and ironically, anti-intellectual. Think about it.
People are referred to as workers, as the working class, because they don't own the enterprise, right? They're working for the enterprise. They're working for the business owner. The business owners are working for themselves, but the distinction here is that the working class do not have any control over those industries. They are working for it.
The only difference between a lawyer, a doctor, an investor, or independent business owner, and the working class, as is the current nomenclature, is that the former simply work with their minds instead of their bodies.
I wouldn't really call being an investor like working, but yes, being a doctor, business owner, lawyer takes a lot of work, a lot of skill, and a lot of effort. That's not the distinction we're making here. The distinction is that those people still own their enterprises. Those people do not have a boss, they are their own boss, right? They're not working for anyone but themselves. So to call them workers and to lump them in with employees would just be misleading. Like that's a, a categorical error. These people have very different places in the economy that we have to talk about. Like we have to distinguish between the people who own the businesses and the people who work for the businesses.
Does that mean that their work is any less valuable? I thought the left had the corner on intelligentsia. Or does that only apply to modern humanities majors who posit theories and philosophies that needn't yield results in the real world? But hey, that just mirrors Marxism to a T. After all, what gives the working class or proletariats the rights to have the government violently seize businesses and means of production from others outside of the fact that the very cerebral work required to create it in the first place is simply not valued in a communist society? While we're speaking of value,
He was so proud of himself when he made this. Like he told his team, "I'm going to do this in one take, y'all. We're going to write this out. I'm going to do it in one take. I can do it." And they're like, "Steven, you're insane. You're a madman. You can't do this in one take." And Steven was like, "I was on Arthur, bitch. I was on fucking Arthur. I'm a professional and I'm going to do this in one take." And he's doing it the whole time like, "Wait, am I going to fuck up? Am I going to fuck up?" You know, but he gets through the whole thing. And then at the end, like people applaud him. Like his workers applaud him like, "We didn't think you could do it." And Crowder stands up like, "I know you didn't. I know. Because you couldn't." Like, the smug. um, Everything he was saying, like, what does that have to do with Labor Day? Nothing. Like, he has not explained why Labor Day sucks. He's just ranting about how much he hates the fact that workers suddenly think that they are autonomous people that should be able to like live with dignity. Like he's just ranting against that concept. Like he thinks that working people are just blunt tools for the upper class. Like just parts of machinery that you should be able to use at your own convenience. Like imagine if imagine if your computer or your phone all of a sudden said, you know, that it wanted to have equal rights. Like that'd be ridiculous. You're a computer. You work for me. You are designed to work for me. I'm not going to give you a weekend. I'm not going to give you overtime pay. Like this is exactly the mentality that Steven Crowder is taking.
value, let's go back to the value of time. Again, today most Americans are horrified to learn that in the time of the Industrial Revolution, many people were working 12-hour days without breaks. Because in the age of today, the average 34-hour work week, who would ever consider putting themselves through that? And that's where we come full circle. Today, while you enjoy your melanoma and corn beer, there are still plenty of people who work those kinds of hours without the benefit of a labor union. They're called business owners. You know, the people you'll inevitably find time to vilify today between your hot dog eating contest and waking up in a boozy puddle of your own filth on some stranger's lawn. Because, well,
He's actually like bundling in the working class with leftists. Like he's talking to the working class here, but he's using talking points against leftists, which I don't know. Does being a part of the working class automatically make you leftist? I mean, your own interests are leftist, right? The belief that you should have higher wages, uh, safety regulations, etc. Yes, those are leftists. So I guess in that way they're inherently leftist. But I think a lot of people would disagree here they that they vilify their bosses or they vilify the upper classes. But disregarding all of that, right? Let's go back a little bit.
The people you'll inevitably find time to vilify, people who work those kinds. That's where we come full circle. Today, while you enjoy your melanoma and corn beer, there are still plenty of people who work those kinds of hours without the benefit of a labor union. They're called business owners.
So the difference here is that business owners get to enjoy the surplus of the labor. They get to enjoy the surplus value of the labor that is produced. Like, business owners are the people who walk away with the money. They're the people who walk away with the actual the things that the workers create ostensibly. I mean, workers are there to create a profit. Business owners and investors are the people that actually get that profit, that actually enjoy that profit, that are not alienated from the fruits of their own labor. Do business owners need a holiday? Are they crying out for a holiday? Uh, Business owners and corporations have been doing great under Trump. For sure. The stock market has been, up until COVID, it has been doing great. They're fine. Don't worry about them, Steve. They're going to be okay. Now, if we could talk about the fact that real wages are still stagnant, in fact, dropping, or we could talk about the fact that 5% of our labor force has to work multiple jobs, or talk about, I mean, we're not even getting into COVID stuff. Like, this was made before COVID, so I'm not even going to address that because it wouldn't be fair. But, like, imagine how much COVID has revealed the just the sheer ugliness and how we approach our workers, like how entitled we are to their labor, how entitled we are that we don't even seem to regard them as human beings. Like, when people strike because Jeff Bezos won't let them take a bathroom break in a factory that is not air conditioned, we we get so mad about that. We cannot handle that. The fact that they are standing up for their own rights as workers. Of course, Steven Crowder's job is to completely undermine that and undercut that and make them look like they're the entitled ones.
The people you'll inevitably find time to vilify today between your hot dog eating contest and waking up in a boozy puddle of your own filth on some stranger's lawn. Because while you were taking the day off to play drunken lawn darts, they were likely working to make sure that the lights are still on. Someone has to make sure that you can find your way when you tardily stumble in on Tuesday looking for the Alka-Seltzer. Listen, enjoy your silly day off and have fun. My only point here is that Labor Day just highlights the gross mass generalizations that come from the left in the 21st century.
The mass generalizations that come from the left. The left. He says so many things without irony. Like, he had to write a script for this, and I hope he double checked it for at least like spelling mistakes. And he doesn't even see the contradictions happen, like coming right after each other. Also, he makes workers seem like alcoholics. I don't know if that bothers you. It bothers me a little bit. Like, all of these jokes about workers, like, just getting shit-faced on Labor Day. Like, they're not taking time to actually enjoy some free time with their families or anything like that. They're just getting shit-faced, and they're going to stumble into work because, when you trust workers to be alone, like, bad shit happens, bruh. Like, do not let them near the bottle, man, because they are out of control. I mean, they're workers. If they were smart, they'd be business owners. If they had control over themselves, they'd be business owners. Did workers cause the financial crash of 2008? Are workers the reason why we have an oligarchy right now in the United States government? Whenever workers fight for their own interests, unions, you make them out to be the most malicious and villainous force of American society. But what have unions done to hurt the economy for everyday people, for average people?
country. Even though they accuse the right of being racist at every opportunity possible, it is they who exclusively separate and view people through the prism of sex, race, age, and yes, socioeconomic status. This classism is just another way to divide and conquer, turn brother against brother, and to make you think that you're somehow owed something that only Big Brother can provide. So enjoy your Labor Day and enjoy.
Um, Divide and conquer. Pointing out that class interests are inherently opposed to each other, that the interests of these classes are opposed to each other, that the class dynamic can only exist through the subjugation of one class. That's just a basic analysis of society. And that's just a factual one at that. There's nothing inherently problematic about the coexistence of races and genders. Well, not for us. I mean, I know you guys have been struggling with that recently. Haven't been having a good time with this whole Black Lives Matter thing. But to point that out and to say that class interests are contradictory, we don't want to live in a place where a minority of people get control over the economy and the livelihood of millions. That doesn't sound cool. Doesn't sound fun. I don't think I'm a dick to point that out.
Your weekends off and 8-hour work days for that matter. And yes, like you'll see in all the social media trends today, you can in part thank a union for those luxuries. Just know that they're afforded to you because of someone who enjoys none of them.
Yeah, you can also thank unions for. Let me pull it up here. The weekend, overtime pay, the 8-hour workday, minimum wage, paid vacation, sick days, safety standards, child labor laws, health benefits, retirement security, and unemployment comp. Just a few other things you can thank unions for.
Someone who doesn't have a standard weekend and has likely gone years of working tireless hours and borrowing money just to make payroll. So, okay, for your time off, benefits, and silly little end of summer holiday, thank a union. As for your job and the ability to provide for you and yours, thank a business owner. Hey, if you like this video, subscribe or hit the notification bell. I think you see.
The workers are supposed to thank the business owners. What if the business owners thanked the workers? Because the workers are the people who make the business possible, who make the business happen, right? Rich people could not exist without workers. Why not? Why the hell not, Steve? Can somebody tell me how you can watch Steven Crowder not being a major business owner, not being a millionaire, a member of the upper class, the 1%? How could you watch this and think that this man wants anything to do with you? That he has taken into consideration your interests, that he empathizes with your experiences at all. Tell me how it does not become immediately clear that he is not interested in trying. There is no struggle within Steven Crowder to understand the plight of the working man. He sees your attempt at rights in a more egalitarian society as an inconvenience to him and his millionaire donors, his millionaire backers. If you're a single mother working 2 jobs just to feed your children, if you're a recent college grad who is trying to navigate their way through a stagnant economy crippled with debt, and if you're an employee who's looking to retire but is watching as the Trump administration is trying to cut payroll tax and, in effect, Social Security. If you are any one of those people or belong to that, Steven Crowder could not think less of you. He will use his platform to mock you, to taunt you, to undermine you in front of his entire audience, while he, a celebrity, has only enjoyed financial success through ridiculous ventures like this. So again, happy Labor Day, guys. Let's keep in mind who actually makes this country run, who really keeps the lights on. Let's remember that. And let's never forget, not after Labor Day ends, and not until it begins.